Somebody with a death wish.
Yeah, I was gonna say. If that's like what you guys want to do here in the middle of her feast hall, at the middle of her birthday party, sure.
It wouldn't be the first time Anthony and I have started a fight in the middle of Zenith's Rise.
Won't be the last either.
Alright, we are live.
We fought an orc, we fought a shapeshifter.
Man, that was such a great session, guys. See you next week. You got all that.
That's
right.
all there is. There isn't any more.
Thanks for joining us for this amazing session of Ilderon Tales.
Next week next session we'll be starting with new characters and a whole new world.
The fantastic
wait
season
another
finale.
2.5 months for the next season.
As Brandon goes and contemplates his life choices.
Hey, I make great life choices. TYVM. Alright, so, welcome to the Ilderon Tales. This is the Nobles. This is going to be episode 1 of Saga 1 of book 3. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight. It is a role-playing game. Everything you're going to see tonight is going to be live storytelling. Where we land, oh my gosh, is up to anybody. We have a whole new group of characters, a lot of returning players, some new players, and yeah, so if you're new to this channel, we are playing in a homebrewed world. It is the world of Ilderon. If you want to learn more about it, you can just Google search Ilderon, Ilderon. And we've got a website and we have a wiki, and both of them should come up. And if you're under the age of 14, this content is probably not appropriate for you, so please watch with parental guidance. And moving from there, I think that's all of the top of the stuff. So let's do character not character introductions. Let's do player introductions, and then we are just going to dive straight into the story. Let's go from the top of Discord down. Give like a sentence. You can say your name. Whatever you want to be called if I'm not referring to your character. A sentence about yourself, and a sentence about your who you're playing, and a sentence about your character. So go ahead, E.
Alright, I'm Ewolf, and you might remember me as Marrow and Vonvi from the last set of campaigns.
Nope.
I do.
And I'll be playing Claw Estrai, and he is basically he is a twin who has a few secrets he likes to keep a bit more hidden.
Alright, next we have Anthony.
I'm back.
Go away! I'm kidding.
You can't get rid of me, Brandon. I am everywhere.
Anthony, I also play in the last set of campaigns. A lot of the characters. I was everywhere in those campaigns. Now I'm going to be playing Alexander Vega, who is actually the son of one of my previous characters, and this will be an interesting new change of pace.
Alright, next we have Jackal.
I am Jackal. I was also everywhere in the last set of campaigns. But relevant to this setting, I was Alma in the previous campaign. And instead of being the team healer this time around, I'm playing a barbarian. So I'm excited to hit things.
Yeah. Jackal, you were everywhere last campaign, but the most important place was in our hearts.
So does that mean I get to hit things more?
Internal hemorrhaging!
He was in your heart. He was in mine.
Positive emotions does not compute.
Rob?
I'm Rob. I identify as a little black cube of darkness. And yeah, let's have fun, everybody.
Oh, we're starting on such a positive note. Okay, and Ramon.
Hi, I'm Ramon. I was also in the last set of campaigns. I'm playing Kenneth Alvarea, and it's my first time playing a rogue. I don't know how to rogue.
Rogues are fun. I played a rogue last
Sneak
campaign.
and stab.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay.
I'm not a klepto.
E, if you need to ask any question, feel free to message me too. And finally, we have Willow.
I am Willow. I'm new to this set of campaigns, and I'll be playing Lumilia Earthfire, a cleric.
All right. And we have one more player who isn't with us tonight. They will be joining in next session. All right, so let's jump into tonight's story. So our campaign is going to start in the nation of Arder Sarai. Arder Sarai is known as the Nation of Heroes, and it's this huge kingdom right over here, and it takes up almost an entire third. Well, yeah, almost over a third of the continent of Cedal. It is one of the oldest human nation. Well, it is the oldest human nation in the world. It is sometimes called the birth of the Sun Sarai, and Sarai is like the word for humans in Ilderon. Diving a little deeper, there's always been, and so Arder Sarai has gone through a lot of strife in the last couple books, and so we're picking up in the nation after they've enjoyed 16 years of a pretty decent peace. That said, rumors have started to circulate. And among those rumors, there's always been something not quite right about Princess Asuandria Bertolf. The Magnate has always been protective. The Magnate's the leader of the country, and careful about who she's allowed around the princess. Rumors have started to circulate amongst the nobility of Arder Sarai that the princess has eyes black as midnight, and that the Bertolfs consort with demons and devils in the shadows of their castle. On the eve of Princess Asuandria's 16th birthday, Celestial Magnate Ariana Bertolf has decided to hold a celebration in honor of the princess, unveiling her to a select few noble families in an attempt to put the rumors to rest. Alright, so all of our characters tonight, everybody who's playing tonight, have been invited to this party. Various members of your family have received an invitation, or, somebody that you're close to has received an invitation, and this is a very selective and strategic planning of who is invited here. Not the most influential people in the country, but the people who can spread influence of the areas where these rumors need to be quelled from around the different parts of Arder Sarai. A notable person from this region has been invited who has a little bit of sway, and a notable person from over on this side of the country has been invited. And, these three influential people from this area have been invited. And it's not a huge gathering. It's just about 25 to 30 or 40 people, inside of this event. And that's the whole party. And that's the whole celebration. So everybody is filing in at various points from within the city of Arder. So Arder is the capital city of Arder Sarai, and it sits in the middle of in the Riverlands, in the middle of two rivers. Among the city, or rather, stretching from the center of the city, is the Magnate's Palace, where the head of the government of Arder Sarai is the Celestial Magnate Ariana Bertolf herself. And I will show that picture to you guys because we got it here. Alright, so at various points you've all been invited here, and everybody is in Zenith Rise at some point around here. you are being led through the Earth Gate, and there is just an arrangement of merchants, soldiers, and common people along the palace concourse, just watching kind of like each person in their carriage and their caravan arrive at the palace gate and then be led through the Earth Gate into the vestibule and then through the feast hall. As you're traveling through the halls of the castle, it is lit by a torchlight. There's not a lot of conversation that's happening. It almost seems like people are walking to a choreographed step, as this is a show for the public and the commonwealth of the nobles and the influencers, the councilwomen and the council people, and the knights, all one by one making their way to this event that's been widely publicized. So as each person arrives in the grand vestibule at these different points, they're going to be led. A servant's going to meet them and lead them into the feast hall. So let's start with character introductions. Alright, so sometimes this is going to roll somebody who's already been introduced. We're going to do it randomly. And this might roll somebody who hasn't been, or who's not here tonight. And so on either of those cases, I will re-roll. Alright, but let's see. Our first person is not here. That would be the start of the session. Alright, so, Lumilia, as you arrive in the vestibule, you've received the sage that you work for has given you the invitation and trusted you with the sole responsibility of representing their family here. As you arrive in the vestibule, a servant is going to lead you through the entranceway of the feast hall into a table. Can you describe Lumilia to us?
Lumilia is an 18-year-old girl with short black hair and golden scales along her back and waist. And for the party, she'll be wearing a red and gold dress with her holy symbol around her neck.
Alright, and everybody should be able to see her now. Alright, they're going to lead you to a table. It's completely empty, and they're going to sit you down at it, and they're let's see, are they going to say anything to you? The servant who's led you here is going to say, it's a terrible shame that that sage Skytender couldn't come tonight. And
it is, but I'll do my best to represent him.
He nods and says, I've heard the stories that after losing his daughter, he was blessed with a young Sagite. One given to him from the gods themselves. That would be you?
Yes, that's me.
He is going to bow and say, I am at your service, my lady. And he's going to walk out. The next person who is led in and sat at this table is going to be Claw. Alright, so Claw, you and your father, Mero Estrai, actually step in to the courtyard through a tree using the spell transport via plants, and there's going to be a ground tender there that's just spooked and it sees you guys step out of this tree, and he's going to jump back a moment and just say, Lord Estrai, how many times have we told you can't just come into the palace courtyard? Mero is going to just grunt, going, walking by him through the earth grate into the vestibule. A servant's going to lead you guys into the feast hall. Can you describe Claw to us?
Claw, to what everybody can see, is currently in a cowl and mask covering his mouth and his head for the most part, but you do see a bright pair of hazel eyes, and what can appear to be the cowl has fur underneath the cowl. With that exception, he seems to be wearing a relatively decent leather suit on with underneath, or more of a trench coat on him, as well as a pair of boots and gloves covering his hands.
Okay. As you are led into the feast hall, you are going to be seated at a table. You're going to be seated at a table with. You're going to be seated at a table with.
Someone.
No, with Lumilia. I was just trying to think of the words to describe her. You're going to see a young woman with. Willow, refresh my memory. Did you say her scales were visible?
Only small bits in the back of the dress.
Yeah, you're going to be seated at a table with a young woman. She's got golden scales on the back of her dress. Marrow is going to accompany you as you are walking towards this table. He's going to look around the room at the few occupants already in here and look down at Claw and say, would have liked it if your mother could have attended this thing, but I haven't seen the princess in years. It'll be nice to know that she's well and healthy.
As I would with my sister, it's quite strange being so far away from her after what happened last time we were separated.
He's gonna nod, and he looks down at Lumilia at the table. He's going to sniff for a moment, and then address Lumilia and say, "Girl." He nods.
She's going to smile politely and say, "Yes, my lord."
He's just going to shake his head and say, saying hello. Never mind. As this is going on, a woman's going to walk up to the table. And let's see, did that show to everybody? Yes, it did. Okay.
Yes.
A woman's going to walk up to the table and say, "Lord Esterai, are you bothering this nice young woman? And, is that your son? It's been years." Meryl's going to look up and see head diviner Reyna Renalpaw Surreal. She is accompanied by her apprentice, who she would introduce. She's going to say, "This is my apprentice, Arathan." Marrow is going to nod at each of them. Reyna points to the table, and she's going to say, look at her apprentice and say, "Sit. Do not move from this spot. And remember, keep your eyes peeled." The woman is going to nod and say, "Yes, ma'am." And she's going to say, "And the matters of our office are not to be discussed, madam." Reyna's going to nod. The girl takes a seat at the table. Reyna's going to take Marrow's arm and say, "Please, Lord Esterai, let's catch up. It's been far too long. There are things that I need to inform you of." Marrow's going to look back at Claw and say, "Will you be alright without me?"
Claw is going to nod and state, "I think I can handle myself now."
Alright. Marrow walks off. Let's see. It's no longer reliable to use that macro, so I'm going to roll a d4 of who hasn't been introduced, going from the top down with Alexander, Anderson, Kenneth, and Stradora. Alright. So the next person walking in, as you enter the palace gates, Stradora. Rob, how about you give us a description of Stradora?
Stradora is a relatively short 14-year-old girl with short black hair, bright blue eyes. She's got a chainmail shirt on, and overlaid with a bright blue sort of sleeveless jacket, and then a skirt that goes all the way down. It's not one piece, but it looks the part. Got a sword on her hip, fire in her eyes.
All right.
She looks bored already.
As you are walking through this palace concourse and into the Earth Gate, the crowd is shocked to see two Sun Yith members here, as with you is your Order Captain, Winsley Sunstringer, and she is in a... she has a chainmail shirt on, but she is in a open robe that have the gold and blue colors of the Sun Yith adorned
Sounds
across
like we
them.
match.
Yes. And somebody is actually going to break away from the crowd and come running towards you guys. Immediately, the knights and the guards that are there are going to pull their weapons and move to intercept this woman. She looks like a common beggar with dirt on her face and tattered hair. And she almost looks as if she's crying. As she comes running at you, she says, "I've looked everywhere for you! I've looked everywhere!" And the guards stop her. Winsley is going to look over at her and say, "You've been looking for us?" She says, "My name's Corwin! You healed me in the north!" And I hope that showed to you guys. Or no, it probably did not. Let's see. Show to everyone. Winsley waves her hand, and the guards are going to let this woman approach Stradora and Winsley. The woman's going to say, "I had lost my mind, and the frostbite was coming to consume me. It would have devoured me whole. You came to our village in the middle of nowhere, and you saved me." Winsley is going to smile, patting the woman's back and looking over at Stradora. She's going to say, "How about you represent our order here tonight at this event, and I'll find this nice woman an inn room to stay at."
Stradora is going to take... her expression is going to shift from panic to like, "Oh yeah."
Winsley,
Yes, ma'am.
Winsley's going to say, "Now this isn't an opportunity to goof off. Just remember, moments like this is why we do this work. We serve the goddess's will." The woman is going to say, "I'll do anything to repay you, anything." Winsley's going to turn, going the opposite direction of the palace concourse with the woman, say, there. It's fine. It's our duty." Otherwise, Stradora is able to walk into the vestibule and is led into the feast hall. You are seated at a table with Lumilia, the apprentice, and Claw. Next, let's see. I am not going to waste time rolling. I'm just going to randomly pick. Let's go with Anderson.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Anderson, you and your grandfather was the one in charge of your family, correct? Or
No, it was my father.
Oh, okay, your father. All right. So yeah, you and your father are going to walk in and be led by a servant to the table where Lumilia, the apprentice, Stradora, and Claw all are at. As you are being led through the feast hall, there is a person that's going to step out in front of your father. And he is going to say, Lord Rayleigh! I did not expect to see you here this evening. Your father is going to say, Lord Glacius Niatin, it's an honor to see you. He's going to continue and say, this is your son? Jackal, how about you give us a description of Anderson?
Alright, so Anderson is an 18-year-old boy. He's in fine clothes, and he's kind of got this bright-eyed look, as he's never been to the palace before today. And if you look at his eyes do not actually stay one color. They go from kind of a violet to a yellow to a soft green and kind of back.
Alright.
And his hair is just slightly ruffled.
He's going to say, I've and Lord Niatin's going to say, I've been collecting the remnants of the Nakart faction, trying my best to turn us into a unified alliance. You were once pledged as a soul sworn to her name. When are you going to pledge to our house? Your father is going to scratch the back of his head and say, Glacius, this is the best time to bring this up. Lord Niatin, you know I would be honored to be amongst your service, but look what happened with the Nakarts. We were misled for so long. I think our house and the soul sworn to us, our industry, it's better if we're on our own for a little while. Lord Niatin's going to say, a little while, it's been 16 years. Your father is going to say, let me walk my son to our table and we can discuss this further. He's going to nod and say, I would like that.
As my dad leads me to the table, I am going to whisper up to him, Dad, what's he talking about?
He's going to whisper over to you and say, the magnate's been pumping a lot of money into the lands of Erothia, supporting Lord Niatin. There were thousands of other nobles, soul-sworn, pledged to a woman that disappeared long before you were born. If anybody can rally them together and unify their support, they'd be the next most powerful house in Ardersarai, but it's a fool's effort. Erothia is a storm of chaos right now, and everybody's vying to come out on top of that fight. Or come out at the top of that fight. We're tailors and merchants. I don't want to pledge us to anybody who's going to drag our family through a war.
Oh, okay.
He's going to sit you at the table, looking at the rest of the party. Probably, like chatting amongst each other or doing whatever, they're doing, and say, a bright table full of young faces. You'll fit right in, Anderson. Now, if you excuse me, I'll try and get that brute some wine, and maybe with a little schmoozing, he'll leave me alone for the rest of the evening.
Alright, have fun, Dad.
He's going to hug you, and then...
I'm going to hug him back.
Mm.
We're a caring family here.
Alright, let's see. We've got Kenneth and Alexander left. I can't honestly pick this one at random, so I'm going to do 1d2. One is Kenneth, and what one? Alright, Kenneth. You are... once you arrive at the festival, a servant is going to lead you into the feast hall. And I do not like this music for a party, so let's stop.
It's so sad and somber.
Yeah. Here we go.
That was dramatic.
Yeah.
That was menacing.
All right.
This is not party music.
It's not.
This is party music. You'll like it. You'll celebrate. You'll drink your damn wine, and you'll be happy.
Yes,
An
Dad.
alcoholic because they're kids.
All right. So, Kenneth, as you are led into this chamber, go ahead and give us a description of Kenneth.
Okay. Kenneth Alberea. His Illuminagian roots is noticeable by his darker skin. He has I want to say medium length, like sort of shaggy hair, green eyes. He's currently in his fine clothes, which is his purple vest, white dress shirt, purple bow tie. He's would he have come with his mom, or she would have been the one to come with him, or is he?
Yes. His mother would be walking alongside him. I was letting you introduce your character first.
Okay. All right. So I didn't know like what else was there with him.
Okay. And so next to you is a woman moving past her middle ages. She walks with her arms behind her back as she surveys the different groups of people being let in and already talking amongst each other. She's going to say to you, Kenneth, look at how they congregate. And you see the alliance is already being formed?
Yes.
Tell me, do you think this is a celebration or do you think it's a show?
I want to hope it's a celebration, but I think we know how these things are going here.
She's going to nod and say, it's rehearsed. There's a script that's being practiced. A step that's being marched to. I feel it in the air already.
Movement's too stiff. Everyone seems to be like... Well, I wouldn't say everyone. Most likely, there are a few plants here. Keep things going along.
She accompanies you to the table, and looking about the members of the table, she's going to smile and say, I think I'll be dining with a slightly older crowd tonight. She looks at everybody at the table and says, my lords and ladies, I am Councilwoman Alicia Albera. Or Alberea? Yeah, Alberea. She's going to look and say, who might we all have here?
It's wonderful to meet you, standing up. It's like, I'm Anderson Rayleigh. It's a pleasure to meet you.
She's
Can
going...
I, like, hold out a hand?
Yeah, she's going to shake your hand. Before anybody else can say anything, she's going to look over the group and see Stradora sitting there and say, My, is that the Princess of Ililnagai? I heard you were in our country, but I had no idea you'd be in attendance tonight. She bows.
Oh. I don't know if... I don't know how that works. Grandma's not Sky Queen anymore. So, I guess I'm still a princess? But thank you, though. It's a pleasure to meet you.
She is going to walk over to Stradora's, like behind Stradora's chair. And she's going to say, see, festivals and celebrations, they're Ardorian tradition. There are many traditions here that guide our country. She's going to pick up Stradora's knife, her dining utensil, and say, many traditions. One of those that a young lady like yourself might be familiar with is that of the Oathblade. Something you could craft and give to an individual of your choosing.
Winsley was talking about that on the trip here.
It doesn't have to be a blade.
She's going to nod and say, yes, it doesn't have to be. But I imagine if you familiarize yourself with it while you're here, and if you found a worthy suitor, a bond between our two nations could make for likely one of the longest lasting peace that we've been able to enjoy in the Ascended Era.
Zora's going to turn red. Like,
she's going to walk over to Kenneth and hand him the knife and say, I'll leave you to it then.
Be well, Mother.
She nods, walking away. Finally, we have Anderson.
Didn't I already go?
Nope, I'm sorry. We have Alexander, the first one of the session. Expect me to do that a lot, because we have a character named Alexander and a character named Anderson. Alright. So, Anderson is going to be one of the Anderson's going to be one of the last people let
That's
in.
3, Brandon.
Alexander is going to be one of the last ones let in.
My friends call me Andy for short, if you want to call me that.
Yeah, you are walking in with Meat. Lady Meat? Guess? It would be so hard to give her a proper title.
She was a former knight, so she would have had a title before.
Yeah, but, I mean, she regained her knighthood once she got engaged to Celebris. Alright, so how about you give us a description of Alexander?
He's tall. Well, not as tall as his father, obviously, but both me and Celebris were tall. Younger man. He's dressed in a more formal garbs for the region, but he's also wearing a cloak with the symbols of both the Chantry of for Gelsung and brain shutting off, sorry. Gelsung and sleep.
Oh, Galesong and Valrear.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Mine.
He's got the cloak has got symbols of both of the chantries on it.
Okay. Alright, and so as you're walking through these hallways, Meat is going to stop and look down a corridor, and she's going to point, and she's going to say, Alexander, look. And she points, and down the corridor, you're able to see the magnate. She is talking to... Let's make sure this is in everybody's... There we go. That's in everybody's thing now. She is talking to Marrow and... she is talking to Reyna. There we go. As they are talking back and forth, Mead is going to point to him and say, that one is the magnate. She's the ruler of our country. That is Lord Esterai, I believe. It's been ages since I've seen him last. He doesn't make his way up to the city much these days. He was good friends with your father, you know, before he went off gallivanting off back to Alian. And that little, or that lady was once a little one, just like you when I met her. Head Diviner Reyna Renopal Surreal. I should introduce you. As she begins walking down the corridor, you're going to see one more person standing beside Marrow, who was a little bit shorter than all of the rest. And let's do this. You are going to see a shorter girl. Oh my gosh, she's ridiculously short. I forgot. And she's standing next to Marrow, almost looks like a small child. And Mead's going to stop and say, that's the princess, I believe. I haven't actually met her before. I suppose we should wait until a formal introduction can be done. It looks like whatever they're talking about is important.
I agree, Mother. We should, just make our way to the festivities. I'm sure there'll be time for proper introductions later.
Alright.
As he thinks to the back of his head, I believe I've met most of these people already.
Yes, you have. You knew Reyna when you were a small child. Celebris introduced you to the magnate before he left, but you have not met the princess before.
Or Anderson?
Yeah. Alright, so walking into the feast hall, you are going to be led to a table where the party is sitting. Lumilia, Alexander, Stradora, Anderson, Claw, and Kenneth. Meat is going to look at the party and say, I think I'm going to go find a bit of older entertainment for the evening. I can trust you on your own, Alexander?
Absolutely, Mother.
She leans down and gives you a kiss on the cheek. And she's going to walk off. That said...
As he walks on, everyone notices his shoulders kind of slump a bit, like he's finally able to relax for a second.
If I say that, I'm gonna say, you too, huh?
Didn't think meat was very hovering.
The apprentice is going to look at the conversation and say, parents, am I right?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. My dad's awesome.
I love my mom and dad.
I would have given the knife back to Fedora.
Well, thank you.
Although, like, I admit that your mom brought up somewhat of a awkward subject.
Also, sorry, I didn't quite catch your name about my father earlier. We're very cautious about certain individuals. Says, looking towards, Emilia.
Oh, my name is Lumilia.
Hi.
Sagite for, Sage Skytender.
The apprentice looks over at you and says, what chantry?
I follow the goddess Soyesa.
She's gonna nod and say, yes. The fire one.
Yes, that one.
That's one way of putting
Kinda
it.
that the fire one. It's like I have notes.
No, just like kind of leaning over. Who's like closest to me?
I will allow you guys to, decide. Oh, I never moved our thing. So let's see. We are in the feast hall. There's kind of like an inspiration for like how this room's set up, although the tables would be significantly smaller. But there's stairs leading to servants' quarters, and then like a grand entrance way in the back of the room. And then I have a small little map for the layout of the first floor of the feast hall. And you guys would be in this room right there, entering in from there.
Probably sitting closer to Claw since we have a history, so he'd be one of the few people I'd actually know.
Glad to see you here, by the way, Alexander.
Yeah, we saw your father talking with the magnate in Auntie Rena on the land.
Lena dragged her to the side when we entered.
The apprentice is going to look away from the. Oh, and I probably should. Let me describe the room real quick for a second, because I just realized I never did that because we were doing character introductions. So you are all in a. You're all in the large feast hall of Zenith Rise, where normally lots of people are moving in and out of this place and sitting at like long tables and eating food as like servants bring it out. It has been redecorated to house this festival. There are candles on every table, and about a dozen circular tables in here. At the front of the room, there is a elevated platform where a long table has been set. There are only seats around half of the table, as it would face towards the audience. And in front of this table, there's a small stage on this elevated platform, made room for a performer. Different groups of people have congregated at different spots in this room, and other tables are filling up. There are, let's see, I'll roll a die. There are 5 people already sitting at the long table at the upper part of the room. However, 2 seats have yet to be filled, presumably that of the princess and the magnate. Yes, but also, as Claw says that, the apprentice is going to look over at him and say, "You two know each other? I believe names are in order."
Claw Estrai.
I apologize. My name is Alexander Vega.
I'll smile and nod and say, I am Kenneth Alberea. It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
And again, I'm Lumilia.
Jeez, you guys are gonna make me blush. I'm Alexander Rayleigh, and I feel that out of everyone's parents, I'm probably like the least accomplished.
I don't have parents, so you beat me.
Well, I say parents, I'm actually adopted.
Oh, me too.
Same.
Yeah, adoption buddies! High five! Listen up.
The apprentice is going to shrug and say, "My father left me when I was, left us when I was young, so I don't know if that counts. I never knew him."
Wow.
Interesting fact.
Does everyone hear him like making conversations awkward?
I think we're doing wonderfully.
Anyway, what do you guys do, when you're not here? I know, like, I generally help my dad at the shop that he's built up and given us our family name significance.
I'm in the Sunyeth.
Cool.
Like an army or something?
Religious order.
I'm aware it's a religious order, but I forget.
You guys hear, like, a chair just, like, kind of sliding against the stone floor.
Oh, no.
As the apprentice just inches, like 6 inches away from Stradora. Like, just slowly. And it's like that kind of just.
Just like long stare.
She looks down at her plate, holding her silverware, not like addressing the awkward.
Did I say something wrong?
I'm pretty sure she probably freaked out, scared, something of the like. Or in the sun yet.
Well, I mean, I've only been in there for. I don't even have a proper order yet.
I don't get to leave the city that often, so I'm aware it's an organization, but what is exactly that you guys do?
Fedora's gonna lean down, pull a book out of her pouch.
I feel like I'm gonna regret this decision to ask this.
We spread the word and guidance of Alilia and share her grace with everybody.
Do they make you memorize that?
I forget sometimes. So it's good to remember what I need to be saying to people.
Okay.
Oh,
I worship the Forgotten Song and it's kind of a no-no, so...
Just you guys see another 3 inches.
I just like to think that she's slowly getting out of this conversation. George is
I like to imagine she's like
smiling, looking at her book.
just like gradually like moving away from the table to like a different table.
Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. My name's Stradora, Drake Calendar.
Dora. I mean, it's great to meet you.
The apprentice is going to say, "My name's Irathan, but you don't have to remember it. You can forget it. It's forgettable."
Writing down her
What's
name
that?
in
It's a
my-
little hard to hear you way down there.
Drake,
Ah,
my father mentioned traveling with or meeting a Drake years ago.
Maybe. Dad did a lot of stuff back in the day.
The apprentice is going to say, "Well, I would tell you guys what I do, but I'm not supposed to talk about the business of the diviner's office. But, you know, it's like magic and stuff."
Oh, that's really cool.
Like leans over. But why don't you tell me?
So you work with Auntie Rena?
She's going to nod and say, "Well, yes, I'm training to be a mind mage."
A mind mage.
What is a mind mage?
She says, "Well, the services of the diviner's office, which I can't discuss, have expanded, and they need someone to fulfill a role that was vacant, sometimes dealing with magic that's with minds."
That sounds important. Congratulations.
I hope that the training goes well.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Do you guys wear like official uniforms, or do you just kind of need to just wear a semi-formal thing of your own choice?
Are you asking the apprentice or the son?
Yeah, the apprentice.
She's going to say, "Oh, well, I think it's honestly better if we don't stand out," which is why the head diviner put me at this table.
Ouch.
She's gonna like shake her head and say, "No, it's fine. I like when she commands me around. It's."
I'm going to choose not to respond to that. No, I was just going to say, if you got to choose your own clothes, kind of gesturing to his fine suit, it's like, I hope you like it. I actually made it myself, though I don't hold a candle to my dad.
As you're talking, by the way, too, a group of performers are going to start walking in. They're setting up on the stage. After a few moments, a band starts to play some music. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just... But if you guys, if you want to come over and say hi anytime after this party, I'm usually at Dad's shop. Also kind of gesturing to Fang, it's like, I actually really love what you did with your hood. The wolf folder's good, but it doesn't... Like, if you added a little more on top, it would look more natural, versus it just kind of looks like you shoved a tail back there.
I'll keep that in mind.
Your father's shop sells clothing?
Not just sells, we make it ourselves.
Oh, wow.
But, no, like, again, gesturing to, like, my own suit, it's like, but no, yeah, I made this myself.
I'll have to stop by if I have time. My father usually chooses all of my clothing.
Oh, please do. I'd love to see you again.
A shadow approaches the table, just hovering over the shoulder of Claw. Those of you who look up, you are going to see a young boy. He is pretty charming, about your age.
That,
How about your
that's
age?
a wide range.
Well,
His age.
let's see.
Pretty hard.
Yeah, he
Teens.
seems to
We're
be
all like
Somewhere between 14
teen.
and 18.
Yeah.
He is.
I remember.
He's going to
My
say.
God, he's so handsome.
Yeah, he's going to say, Lord Estrai.
Looking up. Yes.
I heard your father was here this evening, but nobody's seen him.
As you know, my dad does not quite enjoy public locations too well.
He's going to say, where are my manners? I'm Lord Kiris Estrai. Or not Estrai, I'm sorry, Lord Kiris Nyatin.
It's like,
Yeah.
I was about to say the only sibling I have is a sister, and I know she's not here.
Surprise, I'm your stepbrother. I'm part vampire.
Octavia's busy.
Oh my god. Anyways, he left with Reina and went to go discuss with him. I don't know quite exactly where he is, but he did state that he might be coming back relatively after he was done with the conversation.
He's going to nod and say, well, my father sent me over here to make a pitch for him. It was brought to my attention that your family's lands are in the province of Erothia. Once were and the lands claimed by Lady Nakart. My father is trying to rebuild the Nakart Alliance. That said, if you choose to swear yourself to him, your whole family could. I hear the woods you reside near are quite dangerous. We could provide protection for the members of your house.
You hear a quiet chuckle.
I don't know about that. I have a 13 passive perception.
Well, I also have a 15 passive perception, I think. But
I have a passive perception of 12.
he's going to state, we know that it's dangerous.
if you're chuckling, he's gonna just like scratch his head. It's like, look, I'm not good at this. My dad just sent me over here, and you can say no, but I'm sorry if I'm bothering you.
You gotta have more. You gotta own it a little more, buddy. You know, if you're gonna try and convince somebody of something, you stand up straight, say it like you mean it.
The key is confidence.
What they said.
I was going to gesture towards them and state, my dad might not be the most sociable person, but he does know on how to make sure that people know what he means and intends. With that being stated, though, it is not us that is afraid of the forest. It is those that aren't welcome. With that being stated, if you still wish to talk to my father, I'm sure when he comes back I will let him know about your family wanting to possibly make an alliance, but that is something that he decides on, not me and not my sister.
He's
Maton, correct?
He's going to nod and say, yes, Lord Kiris Nyaton. But I should remind you that any sorcerer can swear to any, or can swear to any, or become a soul sworn to anyone of their choosing. An oath is can be honored by any of us. But I'm sorry for coming over here. Please enjoy the meal. And he looks to the table and, ladies, you all look lovely. He's going to nod and turn to start walking. At that point, the music is going to go a little quiet as an air of like tension just draws over the room. In preparation, the people at the head table all stand up, and both of the doors for the entranceway of this room are held open. Man is going to step through and say, introducing the Maphis Majesty, Celestial Magnate Ariana Bertolf, and her daughter, Princess Asuandria Bertolf. The Magnate, accompanied by 3 knights, walks through the door. Behind her is the princess. Everybody else in the room begins to stand as they walk through the center of the room.
I understand.
I don't 100% understand what's going on, but I stand because I see everyone else standing.
Claw will also stand and kind of see if his father's one of the knights that are walking with them or not.
Trudor definitely stands. She's gotta,
Amelia will
she's gotta
stand
look
up
up for the sun yet,
quickly.
you know.
Princess respects princess.
Game recognizes game.
Yes, Marrow is one of the knights walking behind them, and they all walk to the center table. Marrow's going to nod to Claw as he walks by. An additional seat is drawn for Marrow. As they are taking their seats, Kiris is going to look up and say, "There's the woman of the hour." The apprentice is going to huff and say, "It's barely appropriate to even call her a woman at this point."
Quite frightening.
Wait, so we get to see the princess?
Yes, she walks through the center of the room to the table. Not your table, the center table on the platform.
I just needed to know if I needed to commit to drooling.
She's very beautiful.
You got a little something on the corner here, right there.
Down, girl. Don't go making that old blade yet.
As my father would say, give the one you want to marry a weapon they will actually use.
The apprentice
Why are you
is
all
going
going to this subject?
the apprentice is going to say, "Beautiful is that everything I hear? She's weird."
Aren't we all?
Trudor is out of this conversation, boys.
Claw is going to...
Like, she's still just staring.
You haven't met You're not very familiar with my family then, how are you?
The apprentice is going to look over and shake her head and say, "No, tonight's my first time ever meeting you."
He's going to nod and... As I said before...
Yeah, people have started sitting back down. You guys can see there's a small line that has formed at the table, the elevated table. People are coming by saying a word to the seated magnate and princess, and occasionally putting things on the table in front of them, which would be like gifts from their family.
I think I might need to go up there. My dad said that he wanted me to be the one to give them something that we made. He stands back up and starts heading up there.
Okay.
Oh, you too? Here, I'll come with.
Oh, yes, I have a gift as well. And I'll
Okay,
stand up
everyone,
and
then
join them.
form a line.
Woo!
please.
Gifting party!
Deep breath.
Thank you for
Deep
reminding
breaths,
me.
We can do this.
No problem.
I'll put a hand on your shoulder. You can come on. You can do it. Just smile. If you can't talk, smile.
It's like, you'll be fine. You look great.
All right, the party goes and waits in line.
Give her your best smile, kid.
All right. As you guys wait, well, not as you wait. Eventually, you shuffle to the front of the line. I would assume if Kenneth was organizing the line, he'd put himself in front, or would you let Claw go first since he was the first to jump up?
Let Claw go first. He'll be the line leader.
All right. There is a small.
Oh my god, you have an accessorizing tail too? That's awesome!
There's a
You
small.
don't actually see a tail!
There's a small chest behind her where these items, which are like pendants and diadems and tiara head necklace things.
Yeah, diadem.
And yeah, where these different gifts are being like taken off the table and then like placed behind the princess as each person's come like and given them something, or giving the princess something. The magnate and princess look up at Claw as he approaches. The magnate begins to smile and say, "Ah, Claw, it's good to see you again. It's been years."
It has. I'm sorry that my sister couldn't be here, but there only could be one person brought here. But Dad and my auntie just thought that this would be a great gift for her. And he pulls out a dream catcher with a few pearls in the webbing of it that is dangling with a few tiger's eyes and some feathers of different birds.
She's going to take it and say, "Ah, Lord Esterai, thank you. I will sleep under it every night."
The keyword to activate it is awaken at and select the time, and according to him, it should wake you at whatever position the sun is at when you specify it.
She is going to nod. Your dad doesn't seem terribly enthused, and the magnate is also going to smile and nod for Mordecai for Claw to leave the stage.
Magic alarm clock.
Yes, it is basically.
As a matter of fact, yes.
Nailed it.
Not only is it cool, it's practical.
Who's next?
I can be next, I guess.
Okay.
Lamilia will very carefully lift up a small box and say, "Happy birthday, princess. On behalf of Sage Calistar Skytender, I've brought half a pound of mithril and a trained falcon."
She's going to put her hand on her
I thought we agreed on a
chest
price, guys. No more
on
than
the
$10.
on the falcon and say, "A trained falcon, and isn't at all indeed proper for me to accept that." She looks a little excited. Her mother, the magnate, is going to roll her eyes and look over at the princess and nod, and she's going to take the box and say, "Does it have a name?"
It does not yet. We felt you would want to pick a name for it.
She is going to nod and say, I'll do so first thing in the morning. Thank you. It was Lady Skytender?
I'm Lady Earthfire.
Ah, Earthfire. Yes, thank you very much.
I hope it serves you well.
Alright, who's next?
I guess I will go next.
Okay.
Unless someone else wants to. Alright. I will
just going in order of character introduction would be the easiest way to go about this.
I don't remember character introduction order.
I'll go last.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. No, I'll go next. So I will step up and I am holding like a pure white white box, and it's like, Your Majesty, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Anderson Rayleigh, of the Rayleigh store that my father has opened up and runs. And I present to you a gift that my father and I have put our blood, sweat, and tears into. And I open it up, and it is a fine dress of the softest silks and with precious gems like coming off the side of it, like in kind of a cascade.
Oh. The magnate is going to stand up and say, when your father asked for her measurements, I was hesitant, but he's truly outdone himself.
Your words grace us.
The princess is going to take it and place it on the table, or hand it to a servant rather than place it on the table. And the servant's going to begin delicately putting it into the chest. And she's going to say, I'll wear it first thing I can tomorrow. It's beautiful.
It is a formal dress for special occasions, in case it wasn't obvious. But I hope the next event I see you at, you will be wearing it.
All right, who is next?
I guess that's me.
Okay.
Alexander walks up, does a full 90-degree bow. Addressing both of them. Your ladyships.
Let's see. And she's going to look and say, "You, young Lord Veda," the magnate responds and says, "Please present your gift."
Thank you. This is actually something my father wanted to bestow upon the princess years ago, but never had the opportunity. And he pulls out a box with the dagger that Alexander Anderson had. This was a prized possession of the man whose name I now carry, and I believe it's common knowledge, right, Brandon, that she was named after him too?
Yes.
That we both share the name of.
As you put the box on the table, the princess is
Oh my god!
going
That's
to
so cool!
Yeah, the princess is going to move two hands towards and say, I don't have much use for it, but I'll before she can move it closer to herself, the magnate is going to put her hand on the box, keeping it closed, and say, and look over at the princess and say, "Fathers will disappoint you." And she's going to take the box and say, "Put this in the palace armory." As she hands it to another servant, the servant is going to nod. The princess
There's
is going
some
to
salt behind there.
Yeah, then look and say, "Yes, mother."
I feel spiritually wounded.
Mothers will disappoint too.
Yeah. Then who's next? We got Stradora. Stradora.
You said you were gonna go last, Kenneth, or Ramon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm going last, so I'm pushing
Oh
Stradora
god, it means
forward.
I gotta compose myself real quick.
This whole time I've been trying to settle you down. We'll go with that.
I'm good. So Stradora will walk up, and she has a little box in her hands. It's like, I'd like to thank both of your majesties for allowing me to be here. I'm representing Order 258 of the Sunyith. My order captain couldn't be here tonight. And then she'll open up the box, and inside the box is an ornate emblem. It's two oars with a middle section with a hinge or a clasp. And then Stradora will open it up and dim light will kind of shine out. It's a compass that you can see in the dark.
The princess is going to smile, nodding, and taking it and handing it to a servant and say, if I ever have any use for direction, I will use it at every opportunity. It's beautiful. Before you can walk away, the magnate's going to call out, "Lady Calendir, tell me, what use does Alona Guy have for a princess? What's your role?"
Oh, I don't have one, Your Majesty. It's more like a nickname.
Purely ceremonial.
Yeah. So I'm not supposed to exist, I guess. Risen members aren't supposed to have children, so Sky Queens shouldn't have granddaughters. But I'm here now.
Ariana's going to nod and say, yes, I'm aware. Well, I hope you've been finding our country quite warm since you've been here. If there's anything we can do to make your accommodations more fitting, just let the serving staff know.
Oh, I will. But you've all been so accommodating. Thank you.
All right, and finally,
Look over to us, Andrea, and then slowly walks away.
You did fine. You did fine. She bombed it. Oh my god. She said that.
all right, it is Kenneth.
Okay, so Kenneth will walk up and smile to both Macadate and Princess. Your Grace. Nice to meet you. I am Kenneth Alborea. Unfortunately, my younger sister could not make it. She fell ill here, so I am here in her place. And for my family to present you this, and opens up a box that he carries that has a necklace with a ruby indented into it.
It's worth stating the princess was wearing a very elaborate gemstone necklace of her own. But as she looks over at this, and she's going to say, I am so drawn to this one, but should I ever need to change, it will adorn my neck from sunrise to sunset.
There's a small trick to this one. He pulls aside and pulls the ruby out of the necklace. This is actually magical focus. If you ever so need to, you can use this. I've heard that you had an interest in magic.
She is going to nod and say, yes, but I am but a neophyte. But yes, when my arcane powers become a little bit stronger, I shall use it all the time. Thank you so much, Lord Albarera.
There's no problem. I'll take my leave.
Jeez, guys, why do we... That's it. Sorry. Had to play a joke.
She's going to look over the line of people still waiting to give her a gift. The magnate's going to make eye contact with her and nod, and she's going to stand and say, please, this is a celebration. There will be time for your gifts later. I've hired entertainment, or rather my mother has provided entertainment for us this evening. Let us enjoy! The band that is playing on the stage, they're going to move aside and help a man who's walking from the side of the room. He's holding 4 metal pillars. Each one has a basin at the top of it. They're about 4 feet tall each. He starts setting up on the center of the stage. He pours a little bit of oil in one of them. As you guys get to the back to the table, the apprentice is going to ask, so, what'd you think of her?
She seemed nice. Just... He says, looking over his shoulder at everybody else. I wonder if my auntie actually did add that second part to it. He says, sitting back down.
Lumilia looks terrified and is clutching her hair, just mumbling like, I called myself lady in front of the princess, and what did she mean the falcon is inappropriate? Just freaking out in the corner.
Because Dora's like face down on the table, and it's just like, no, she knows I'm a princess too, and I stared too long.
I'm like rubbing your back, like you did fine, all
I
right.
don't know about
Like,
the rest of you, but I find their reactions hilarious.
I
actually think mine went pretty well.
Considering all of yours gifts, it seems that I brought the least.
Shouldn't exist.
Considering everybody else is...
like patting on the head. No, you exist. You're great.
Lumilia, how familiar are you with certain cultures here in Ardor?
I've very rarely left my temple.
The reason why that she said it might not be completely appropriate is that usually when a man turns 16 here, they release a falcon as a rite of passage. She is turning 16 now, and you are giving one to her. that is why she thought it wasn't appropriate. But as someone who has done quite a bit of husbandry with my father, it was definitely a lovely falcon, and judging based off of her reaction, she probably will enjoy it a lot more than what my father and auntie gave her.
Lumilia still looks horrified. Like, I thought it was for anyone!
It can be. I know some people that actually enjoy having falcons all the time.
The lights go out as every candle in the room is extinguished. There is a...
Fedora goes from lamenting her entire existence because she acted dumb in front of her crush to battle, attack position.
No, I'm just surprised because I'm comforting you, and all of a sudden your hand on weapon, whoa,
push back on the chair, hand on the hilt, like what?
Hands up, I was whoa.
Alright, and as this happens, a single flame is lit in the center of the room, in one of the metal pillars that was set up by the performer. You guys see a man standing behind the flame. He would introduce himself. Let's see.
Maybe this is part of the performance. Please?
Gonna relax slowly.
I still have a hand on an arrow.
Oh, here we go. I put him in the wrong thing.
I'm looking for my battle
He's
axe.
going to say, "Ladies and lords of Ardor Sarai, kind Solcerai, prepare to be entertained by the amazing Thrasidanius Wonder Spoon!" Through the fire, he is going to light what appears to be a flaming baton. There are two more in his hands. The other ones are unlit. He begins juggling the three in the air. You can only see the flame of the one in the air. There's a bit of silence and awe as he starts juggling these. The band starts playing a little bit of percussion as he picks up the speed at which he's throwing them. As they go higher, he catches the one on fire, puts it in front of his mouth, and shoots a jet of flame over one of the tables nearest to him. It ignites one of the other torches in the air, or one of the other batons in the air. He begins juggling the two flaming ones, with the third one still being juggled. He catches the second one and shoots another jet of flame at the third one, lighting all three. The fire illuminating only him as it comes down. He scratches one against the ground, throws it back up in the air. Second one against the ground, throws it back in the air. There's only one lit in flame. As it goes up in the air and comes back down, Ariana Bertolf is now the one juggling the fire. She has a huge smile on her face. As it appears, he has changed his appearance magically. He juggles, as he keeps juggling it, a second later, it comes back down, and instead, this time, it's Reyna juggling the fire, as he seems to have changed his appearance again. Again, he goes through the display of shooting all three. As he shoots all three jets of fire at these batons, they're all lit. And then, as he catches each one, he scratches it against the ground, taking each one out. And then, after the drums stop and all of the lights and all of the torches are off, he returns the fire to all of the candles in the room. And standing in the center of the stage is Thrasidanius Wonder Spoon! The nobles and attendants of the party are going to start lightly clapping.
Lumilia starts clapping really loudly.
He is...
Gonna polite.
Go ahead.
I said I was gonna politely clap.
He's
I'll also clap. I just wanted to note that I had returned to my seated position after a little bit, because it's oh, never mind, I don't have to kill anything.
He's going to be breathing in deeply with a huge smile on his face. Alright, I'll be here all evening. Another display in a half hour's time. My lords, my ladies, enjoy the feast ahead of you. He bows, and he starts collecting his pillars and moving them off of the stage.
Pretty talented.
Oh, that's
Really
cool.
bad name.
Was he a fire spawned?
I
He
don't.
breathe fire.
Judging from his smell, I don't think he was.
I think that was just
Parlor
magic.
trick.
The apprentice is, the apprentice sitting there, is, wide-eyed at this. And it's like, did you see how fast he was casting those illusion spells?
Is that what he was doing?
Oh, that's what it was.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's considering the speed of which he was doing it. I'm quite surprised. I mean, my father, I thought he was pretty quick on the draw.
She's going to get up just a little bit and say, I have to go ask him how.
Go ahead.
Lady
if you want to
Reynolds
know.
Paul's surreal said I'm not to leave this seat. She sat down.
Go ahead.
She sits back down.
You should go. It'll do no harm.
She's
Cast illusions.
She's going to nod and say, only minor, small ones, and definitely not that fast.
Can
And she's
you cast one to make us look like you.
She's going to shake her head and say, I'm nowhere near that skill yet. And she's going to look at Lumilia and say, I would love to, but when the head diviner is angry, it's quite beautiful, but it's terrifying to be on the receiving end of.
I might be.
Relationship dynamic.
Well,
Claw's going to stand up and state, well, I had a few questions involving magic, and you might be able to help clear some things up then if I go with you. If I go with you to ask this Wonder Spoon.
She shakes her head and says, no, I am not to leave this chair. I was told to sit here, and I am going to sit here.
hey, Claw, if that's
Well, I mean, if we're going by that logic,
What?
didn't you already leave your chair to go give your gift to the princess? So you already
I don't think she got up.
disobeyed. Did she not?
She did not.
Oh, okay, never mind.
What
Stand
if
up when
we
the princess
brought
said-
him here?
Claw's going to nod and go ahead and start heading off.
Alright, yeah. Claw going to talk to Thrasidanius Wonderspoon. He's going to be oddly standing alone with his metal pillars next to him. And he's going to be looking a little down until he sees Claw approach, and he's like, his smile's gonna go on his face and say, you like the show? Did you like it? Oh, are you a Adoring Wonderspoon fan?
Well,
He's going to like wave his hand at you and say, I've got a quill right here. What would you like me to sign?
well, I wouldn't. Well, my name is Claw Estri, but I have
Alright,
a
he's
friend that
going
would
to
like
grab
to.
your hand and say, the Wonderspoon thinks you are magnificent. Stay magical, Claw Estri. Yeah,
I
he
would
points to you.
also like to talk to you. A friend of mine would like to talk to you and ask a few questions if you're alright with that. Although they seem a bit nervous to talk to you themselves.
He's going to say, but of course.
Do you mind following me?
He's
Unless you're busy.
going to nod and say, these friends of yours wouldn't happen to be from the Maphis University, would they? Because, I can assure you my Arcanist's attribution is legitimate.
They are not.
Okay, as long as the questions aren't about that. He straightens his clothes and he follows you.
Yep.
Got my degree from a legitimate university.
Maphis University online. It's real, I swear.
He's from the subset of Cracker and Jack.
He's going to walk to the table behind Claw. What's Claw going to say? Excuse me. The amazing Facidanius Wonderspoon has graced your presence. Who would like an autograph?
I'll take one.
The apprentice is going to raise her hand.
Me, please.
He's going to say, all right, what am I signing? What am I signing? He pulls out his quill, and Inkwell is going to start to levitate next to him as he dips it into it.
Oh, that's so cool!
Dora is uninterested.
He begins signing minor objects of the party of whatever you guys throw in front of him.
I just present like a napkin.
Yeah. Everybody can add, who wants to, can add one autographed item from the amazing Thracidanius Wonderspoon.
Oh, this is gonna be worth so much money one day, I'm sure of it.
You know what?
This is wonderful.
The apprentice doesn't do anything but like bite her lip, eyes wide, bottom jaw just like quivering in excitement. He's gonna lean over to Claw and say, "Your friends have anything they want to say or ask?"
Well, as I said, she was a bit timid, but she was amazed by how quickly you were casting some spells and was curious on how you were able to do it so well.
He's going to nod and say, see, a good performer never reveals his tricks. Otherwise, you could do it and take all of my shows in gold. But keep practicing, and someday you might figure it out.
Of Alilia.
That seems oddly specific.
I thought I also heard from my father, trick somebody once and they can get amazed. Trick somebody a second time and they'll watch you on how you did it.
He's going to think about it for a second, and he's gonna say, well, you seem like a smart lot. Let's say I wanted to cast 2 spells really, really quick. Alright, let's say I got this one right here. He puts up his finger. And in a few seconds I'll be able to do this one right here. So this one's pretty much static, but if I move this one just a little bit closer to here, prepared a little bit beforehand, it almost looks like they're going off at the same time. If you figure out how I did it, you can figure out how I do it. He's going to nod and say, thanks, you've been great. I've been the amazing Facidanius Wonderspoon. Tip your serving staff.
We were supposed to
I incite him.
We were supposed to bring tips.
Yeah,
I thought this
you
was
can.
like all formal. I didn't think we had to. I didn't bring any spare change.
I don't buy my own meals.
Father didn't send any money.
Yeah, you get the impression he was being earnest with you, but definitely intentionally vague. As he's been finishing up like this explanation, though, the line's like reformed of like gifts in front of the princess's table. You wanted to say something, E?
No, I was making the same check as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Wow.
I will entitle you to a free Arcana check. Again,
Okay.
you sense earnestness from him as you start trying to piece together like how he's doing this, but you're not really sure how magic works. So that's the advice: move the time between the 2 spells as close as possible, and one's fixed. Not really sure what he meant by that, but like, if you can ever figure it out, maybe you'll be able to cast like the amazing Facidanius Wonderspoon someday.
Maybe. I'm not much of a caster myself. My
I feel like
sister's
Wonder Spoon
significant-
is a name that Dusty would come up with.
It's actually
My
Altus and Dusty on each other's shoulder with a major
Like,
illusion
in a
cast.
trench
How
coat.
do they cast them at the same time? There's two of them. There's just two midgets in a trench coat.
So you're saying he has actually 3 dwarfs in a trench coat subclass?
No, that theory falls through real quick. They would
Yeah.
be like,
Not enough things are on
Fedora,
fire.
how's Roman doing?
I was
Anyway,
like, oh my gosh, you've grown so much since the last time we've seen you. I mean, we've never met before.
I mean, I've never met before.
I've never met before.
I'm surprised I got that well on that insight check, but okay.
Oh, go ahead if you want to say anything else. There's a ringing of a glass coming from the top of the table, but you can finish up any thought. It's kind of like that call to attention.
Right, now he's gonna stop.
All right. On the stage, there is a man with a large wrapped package. You are going to see Lord Glacius Niaton on the stage. He's the next in line to give a gift, and and he's going to start unwrapping it. It is a spear with the head of it made of a white stony metal. The magnate is going to smile and say, "Get on with it, Glacius. I want to be able to enjoy the rest of this night before the next harvest comes in." He's going to nod and say, "Magnate, you're far too generous to our family." And she says, "Yes, I'm supporting you, so there's not another rebellion. In Arothia. So get your gift on, your toast on, and let's get back to this party. Doesn't your family have seeds to plant?" He chuckles as she chuckles slightly too. He's going to look at everybody in the room and say, "I just had to take a moment to acknowledge the grandeur of tonight. With the shining star amongst us, I couldn't just say a few words and walked away. I have to let everybody know what this means to me. You see, Ardersarai, it's the bastion of Sunsarai and Ilderon. We, our nation, were called the Land of Heroes. We once led the world in valor and bravery. There were times when the things that lurked in the shadows would quiver at the mention of an approaching Ardorian warrior. And with young Princess Asuandria, I see an opportunity for those times to return. I've struggled to bring together the shattered remnants of the Nakart faction, thousands of Soul Sarai manipulated and used for the mechanisms of a vampire. I have allowed each soul-sworn who has pledged to me to regain their honor. And even now as I speak, Ardersarai harbors demons in their land. We've ceded large stretches of territories to foes we fear, given forests to werewolves, hoping it serves as a muzzle. There was a time when Ardorians were heroes of the light. And now I say it's the hour for those times to return."
I'm just gonna lean over to whoever's closest to me. It's like, I don't like where this conversation's going.
It's funny because
got it.
as you say that, he reverses his grip on the spear and turns and jams it through the princess's chest at the table. Everybody
Bring it
stands
into
up
action.
as
Lilia
this happens.
screams.
That's funny
Stunned silence.
because so does the princess as blood is rushing out of her chest, looking down at this. he turns it as the knights come to grab him. At which point, the princess's hair is going to fade from black to brown as she slumps onto the table in front of her. The party all jumps out of their chair, at which point the knights also all rush him and pull him away from the weapon. The man points, Lord Niaton, as he's being dragged away from the stage, points and says, "She was a fraud! She was a fraud! It was magic!"
Claw's rushing over, and he is going to quickly start trying to do a medicine check on the princess.
Go ahead and roll me an initiative.
It's not, well, like, from what I understand, it's like, is it actually not the princess, or...
Go ahead and roll me a insight check for, Go ahead and roll me an insight check for, Anderson.
Okay.
And go ahead and give me an initiative check for Claw to see... Okay, I see it, the 22. That's your second 22 of the night. God darn. Alright.
On something that only gets a +3.
Alright. Woof. Okay, so the first person to stand up from the table is going to be... the first person to stand up from the table is going to be... and we're going to do this as cinematic combat. Is going to be Reyna. She is going to cast Misty Step. And she appears next to the party's table. She is going to extend a hand towards the princess. Towards the apprentice and say, "We're leaving now." The apprentice looks up and says, but, and she says, "No, we are going." And the apprentice nods, taking her hand. Reyna begins casting another spell, and she's going to Dimension Door out. Alright, that said, the next highest initiative order is 22. Claw is going to run next to the table. You have noticed the magnate is staring daggers at Lord Niaton, who is restrained. You can give me that. Healing check, or that medicine check, if you want.
I'm going to do it with advantage, as you notice, as he's going to use his racial ability.
All right. Go ahead and do it. You're going to be able to tell this body is dead. It is very dead. It was an excessive amount of damage that killed her.
I never got an answer on my insight. Like, is that actually the princess, or is it?
Is that? Let's see. What is your insight? You rolled a 16. Let me think. Okay, so actually, this is going to be very interesting. So as Claw pulls back the body and begins administering a medicine check to her, you are going to notice it is, like I said, the illusion faded. It is the body of the apprentice that is up at the table. You recognize her as you've been sitting next to her. Anderson, you were able to put together that it was not the princess at the table.
Wait, so wouldn't that mean... Holy shit!
We were sitting with the love of my life the whole time.
And you told her.
More panic! More panic!
It's like, it's gotten even worse!
Great.
Let's see, who is next in initiative? We'll finish out this round, and then I'll tell you guys what happens next. Let's see, it's Lumilia.
I'll start running towards the, well, not princess, to see if she can be healed, because I'm guessing Claw didn't yell out that she's dead.
Yeah, well, she's dying, is what he would have yelled out, and looking towards his father for any kind of assistance, knowing his healing magic's better than his.
I'll run forward yelling, I can heal! I can heal!
As you run forward, Marrow, Lord Estrai, is going to stand up from his chair, putting a hand in front of Lumilia, saying, "Don't bother, girl, it's Valpyr. There's no way of retrieving her soul, even if it was on the brink." Does Lumilia want to do anything else with her action, or?
No, she'll just kind of look stunned.
And, Kenneth, you rolled a 19.
Honestly, I don't know what to do at this point. Since it's been revealed, the apprentice was actually the princess, vice versa.
Wait, should we follow her or?
No,
They
no, they poofed. They poofed.
They
out.
teleported out.
At the end of the round, the magnate's going to walk from around the table into one of the guards that have, or one of the knights that have Lord Niatin restrained. She is going to say, "I knew there was dissent being brewed around the country, but to think it was coming from you. Do you have any last words?" As she draws one of the knight's sheathed swords at his waist.
Do it with Anderson's knife. It would be so poetic.
Lord Niatin is going to look up and look at her and say, and before he opens his mouth, he looks towards his son, looking horrified on the other side of the room. Says, "Last words to my son. Sometimes our moment comes before we're ready." He smiles, and Ariana cuts off his head.
Damn. Father's
Amelia covers her eyes.
I'm just staring in stunned silence.
I'm saying a prayer over the dead apprentice body.
Ariana is going to look towards the crowd and say, "Let this be a word to any of those who would think to dissent against the throne, or spread rumors about my daughter. Bring Lord Niatin up to the stage." A couple guards are going to grab Kiris and bring him and make him kneel next to his father's corpse. Ariana points the sword towards him and say, "Swear undying loyalty right now, or meet the same fate in the bridge as your father."
At this point, Claw is going to stand up and state, "You know, just as well as I do, forced servitude will incite more rebellion than that of one that respects them. Not a fear."
Kiris, who is crying, is going to cry over you and say, did he think I would never betray you? I didn't know he was going to do this. I honestly didn't. Please, my head, your majesty. She's going to look towards Claw, and hand him, and it's going to offer him, the Bloody Knight's sword, and say, "I'll let you decide then. Forced servitude or fear. Her father was always one to speak words of wisdom to me. I should think this should stop him from attacking an innocent child." She points back towards the corpse. she's going to turn her back on the knights as she begins walking back up to the stage. Voices are going to erupt over the chamber.
Claw is going to look at Kiris and state, tell me, take a slow breath, and tell me that you did not know that this was going to happen. And looking at his father, giving him a slight nod, knowing there's a certain thing that he can do. My father is going to do something. I want you to let him do this, as it will not hurt you.
Subject me to any magic. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. Please.
Claw is going to look up at his father.
Marrow is just going to nod.
I've understood that not all individuals that people think are afraid. Then, with my family in the forest, and once we feel that you understand why we do what we do, and that not all wars need to be fought with a blade, then you have served what you need. Does that sound fair, Father?
He's going to look and nod and say, the path of mercy. It's a wise one. Ariana's going to shake her head, looking at the apprentice, the dead apprentice on the table, and say, Lord Esterai, he had information. He would have killed her here in front of everyone. This wasn't just trying to make a statement. He knew. Marrow's going to respond and say, what are you saying? She's going to say, accompany the young lord back to his manor. Investigate it. Find out who there gave him this type of information. Marrow is going to nod and say, yes, your majesty. As he walks towards Kiris and grabs him by the arm. He looks towards Claw and says, I trust you can make the journey back home, son.
He is going to nod and state, as long as I can afford a carriage either home or some of the other individuals might let me stick around a little bit. He looks towards the people he's been sitting with. Perhaps at least Meat would let me stay.
Alexander's just kind of waves at him about it.
He's going to nod as he walks with Kiris by the collar, and he's gonna say, I didn't know, please, I didn't know, I don't know, but you're welcome to my estates. Marrow's just going to say, don't shit yourself, as he walks him out of the room. Ariana is going to put her hand up and say, the celebration's over for the evening. Everybody return home to your estates. Those of you who brought children, if you could leave them for a moment, I'd like to have a word.
What?
Kenneth will see if he can look at his
I don't know how to
mom.
respond to this because I am child.
I feel like we're about to be executed for something we had no part in.
The room is going to start slowly spilling out. And soon it's just the party, the magnate, and her two remaining knights left here. She's going to exhale and say, I'm truly, deeply sorry you had to witness that.
If I can be so bold to ask a somewhat orthodox question. I'm waiting for a response.
She'll tilt her hand over, gesturing for you to continue.
If the apprentice was here, was the girl we were sitting with your daughter in disguise?
She's going to nod and say, a concoction thought of by my head diviner to draw out anyone who might wish her harm, although I did not expect it to be Lord Niatin.
Well,
I feel like we already kind of like figured this out, but maybe the adrenaline's wearing off. But that revelation's like, Strador's gonna be like, oh god, oh god.
I'm assuming Claw is still holding that blade that the magnate gave him. I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I couldn't do anything to help. More so looking at the corpse of the dead apprentice.
Is the spear still there?
Yes, it is.
Is it?
He would have taken it. He would have taken it out if he could.
Yeah. It would just be like thrown aside on the floor.
Okay, so is
To think such a weapon exists is...
Can I see it? Can I see the tip and like would I need to roll something to figure out what it is, like in character?
Oh, yeah, I'll say you get it on a DC 12 history check. This metal's it's uncommon, but it's uncommon to see it crafted into weapons, but it's not like a thing that people don't know about. Yeah, so this spear, it has a white stony tip to it. This is a special type of metal called Valpyr. One of the properties of Valpyr is it's often been called the soul metal, of it can rend a soul. Valpyr is a mystical metal only found near deposits near earth fires. And one of the properties of it is if it kills somebody, there's nothing that can be done to bring that person back short of a wish.
He really meant to kill her.
From what my father says.
It's like, to think someone would actually attempt it in broad daylight, no less. Like in front of everyone.
He wanted to send a message, and that message is clear.
But and you'll notice the eyes are like a very dark blue at this point. It's like, thought the wars were over. Thought, this was a time of peace and everyone was getting along.
Time of peace?
Yeah, my dad negotiated.
Is it not?
Oh, maybe peace between Ardor and a Lilna guy.
Ardorians are glory seekers. Look, did you pay attention to what he listed off? Werewolves, demons, devils. All of which, what is one thing that they all have in common?
Bad?
You get glory and your name gets written in history for slaying enough of them, or a powerful one.
Alexander puts an arm around Claw's shoulder.
Your Grace, why did you gather up?
She's going to say, I wanted to squash the thought of dissent, or even the thought that one could bring harm to my daughter. It was a message meant for your parents, not for you. I had hoped I'd been selective enough with who was invited here that the message would spread throughout Ardor. That said, I truly am sorry, and I wish to extend a token of that sorrow to you. Tomorrow, allow me to redeem this experience. Come back to the palace. We'll treat you to a proper feast in the morning.
I'm Thank you.
Did we get
For
to meet
the-
Alexandria?
Dude!
She's going to shake her head and say, she's going to shake her head and say, no. My daughter has a sickness of blood, one that makes it difficult for her to actually interact with people. That said, her, those who, the only ones who see her here are the palace physicians, her personal knight, and the head diviner.
And hasn't my father seen her?
She smiles and says, "It's been years, not since he brought those herbs. Once it's not common knowledge, but her sickness was much more intense, wrought on by magic when she was a young child. Once she was cured of the magic that was ailing her, I've sequestered her off from the world."
Can you at least send word to my mom and sister of what happened here? I know my sister would know that something went wrong here, and I need to at least calm them down.
She'll nod and say, "I'll ensure that word's sent. I know High Councilwoman Anadelia Renault Paul Surreal knows your family personally. She'll have the message there by nightfall."
Thank you.
By midnight. There we go, because it is nightfall.
Claw's going to nod and...
If it's any consolation, your leadership, although not easy to see in person, I think your actions were not only just but appropriate for the situation.
She's going to nod and say, "Well, someday, each of you, you each bear the rank of Solsarai. Someday, each of you might have to make a similar decision. So, I'm sorry to..."
Just looks around.
Claw is just still holding that blade, just kind of looking over it. It's like,
Not me.
You're the most Solsarai, if anyone. In any case, she's going to say, "Please, your families are probably waiting for you outside of the Earth Gate." She gestures towards the door as she turns back to look at the body on the table.
Do you need help with the removal, or?
She's going to shake her head and say, "No, I just want to feel this feeling again. I haven't felt this angry before since my husband left me. It is a fire that I can use."
one thing Gaelsung told my father
That bastard when I had the chance.
was,
Damn,
don't
the queen still
act
has
on
issues.
revenge, or else you need to dig 2 graves, as he walks out.
Alright, does anybody join Claw?
What was that like? Voodoo?
I'll go along.
He says some weird things.
He was a crazy
Alexander
person.
Fedora's probably just gonna kind of leave because it's this sort of weird, awkward. I'm like, this isn't even my country.
Alexander will do him a formal bow and start heading out.
Despite the events tonight, thank you for having us. I'm just gonna go.
Alright.
Kenneth will say, the Alborea family always be at your beck and call. Your grace. He'll bow and leave.
Alright. As you guys step through the festival, people are being escorted out. Different guards are moving towards the Earth Gate. Before you guys can move into the stone chambers of the Earth Gate that moves outside to the concourse, you're going to hear a whistle at Lumilia and Claw and say, "Hey kids!" You see the amazing Thassidanius Wonderspoon near a wall. He's looking around kind of nervous and says, you guys want to make some money?
I don't feel now is an appropriate time.
Your offer makes me uncomfortable.
Well,
I have things to do.
I can pay you. Well, you see, somebody wants to kill the princess. Why would anybody want to kill that sweet girl?
That's what I was saying.
I'll tell you. Thassidanius will get to the bottom of this. I'll give you about 15 gold each to escort me to Somar Villa.
I have to
You're
check with
paying a
my-
bunch of 18-year-old to
14.
14, like 18 to 14 to escort.
I have. Who are you?
So I'm gonna say Thassidanius Wonderspoon.
Or
And
you
setting up
asking children, motioning to the others, to escort, to be your bodyguard.
Could you not hire guards in the city?
Here's more prominent.
Lumilia, give me a free insight check.
Okay.
Oof,
I got a 13.
6
Sorry.
and 13. That's
But can I also provide one?
not a free one. The DC is going to be a little higher. So the DC was easier for Lumilia because it was relevant. It's higher for you and Claw, but hold on, give me 1 second. You can open the door. What's up?
I'm trying to study.
Okay. Alright, so the DC is going to be a little bit lower for, or higher for Stradora. And at a 15, you are going to get that. Like, you didn't pay much attention when Thassidanius was talking to your party, but you did pick up on a few things. He said he's Thassidanius Wonderspoon, not the amazing Thassidanius Wonderspoon.
Store's gonna kind of lean in, and it's just like. Okay.
Wait, what?
Uh-huh.
I have to tell my order captain because that's important, but I'm not technically part of her order. But yeah,
Alright, so, after hearing her okay, may I roll an insight, Brand?
Yes,
I would
you
also
can.
like to roll an insight.
Okay.
May I?
Oh, I don't shit.
I mean, I will allow it as a group check. Everybody can make an insight check. It's
I'm
lower
much
if
better.
you guys beat
Right.
the DC. You can. That's 2 successes and 2 failures, and I'm counting Stradora's as a success. All right, it's literally half and half. All right, so you guys are all going to pick up on the information Stradora got, but not anything further. Like, okay, He didn't. Maybe that was just his showmanship. He didn't refer to himself as the amazing Vasidanius Wonderspoon. Yeah, like as far as like gaining further insight, and just you're a little lost.
Not even on a 24 Lumilia?
No, I did it as a group insight check, so it wasn't on how high you got. It was how many successes versus how many failures, and you guys literally hit 50-50.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep. Like I said, I have to at least let Captain Sunstringer know what I'm up to.
I'll just let my dad know that I'm taking a side job. I can join you, I guess, if you're coming along.
I'll inform my mother to go on ahead.
He's going to say, well, how about I double the price and we don't tell anyone?
I feel like we should call the guards on you now.
No.
Look, Screwdoor's gonna be like, meh.
I'm just saying, you kids look pretty trustworthy.
Well, I don't want
I
to worry her, you know.
Well, I mean,
You
I
have
guess
to come with us when I go talk to her, okay? But I have to, like, you know.
I mean, I can always tell my dad after the fact. It's not the first time I've taken a side job.
You said Somar Villa, right?
He nods.
Well, to be a good cover, Claw, we can just say that we're taking you home.
That is true. I'm gonna make an Arcana check to see if there's any magic being cast on him right now, or would that be an Intelligence check? A general.
You can make an Arcana check.
18.
You are going to recognize the flickering. You are going to recognize the flickering, wavy movement of this person's skin. They are affected by a disguise self spell.
Can I see what they look like without the disguise self?
You cannot.
With that check?
Not without. It's like.
He's going.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Lumilia's gonna ask, Sir Wonderspoon, could I have your autograph, please?
Sure. He's going to pat around and pull out a quill and an inkwell and dip it in and say, on what? And this will ensure you'll travel with me?
My home is that way anyway.
Lumilia's gonna lift up the napkin that he already signed for and be like, "You're alright with me having two?" And kinda confused.
He's gonna say, oh, well, you don't need it then. Okay. Well,
I did get one, and he pulls out an arrow. Actually, well, no, he doesn't. He pulls out a piece of paper that he has on him.
Guys, why are we being so weird about this?
I was about to say, this is escalating really quickly.
I think
We just witnessed a
Easy.
murder.
Mr. Wonderspoon here is definitely fine. Utterly trustworthy. And after we tell my order captain where we're going to be, so that my parents don't get worried,
My
we can
sisters.
take them to Somar Villa. It'll be fine. We really shouldn't stress it to certain people that we're doing this.
I'll get a cart.
I have a question. Can I, do an insight check on... I'm sorry, I've already forgotten your character's name.
Stradora.
go ham.
Are you, is she, flustered? She trying to flirt?
No.
I hate that I have a guess in real life, but I failed that inside check.
I didn't. No, not much better.
All right. He's Actually,
it's our duty as people of Ilderon, and as well, I guess you guys aren't servants of Ililia.
No, but
we're
I
all
am a
servants of
noble.
Ililia.
Technically, we are.
I am a noble, and it's the duty of the nobility to watch for them or those below them.
there is the sounds of shuffling armor coming down this corridor, and he is going to say, you know what? If we can't come to an agreement, just forget I said anything and that you saw
No,
me.
let's go.
And,
You know what? Let's go right now.
Takes their hand and
that's fine.
starts heading for the Earth Gate.
Let's go.
I've got my battle axe on me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
roll me a contested grapple check. That's pretty high. So as you move to grab Thassadanius's hand, he's reflexively going to try and get out of the way. You see the briefest flash of something under his illusion as you do. He looks
I knew it.
completely different to you, as he has no irises, and it's actually a woman. He is
Disturbing.
going to snatch
Oh.
away his hand and say, "No, if I can't let anyone know where I'm going. Thank you very much." And
I
I'm-
won't tell Captain Sunstringer.
I'm heading
Did we all
home
see this, or
and-
was this only?
only
I know why you need to keep it secret, so fine.
I'm
only
heading
Stradora
home.
saw that. All right.
Yeah.
She's going to look at so you guys are aware that, well, part of the party is aware that this person in front of you is the princess, magically disguised. She's going to look down the chamber at the approaching sounds and say, okay, let's go. And just the other thing about that 30 gold each, I'll pay you when we get back to the castle.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was
Let's go.
this for money.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
We'll worry about this later.
We all know
Yeah.
why I agreed.
Right.
So thirsty.
Paul's still going to be heading home and just be like, oh boy.
Thassadanius, the disguised Thassadanius is going to, as you guys are walking through the Earth Gate, is going to say, if you could just stand around me, I don't want my adoring fans crowding me, if possible.
Stand in front, shield out.
Of course.
Don't worry. I'll stand beside you to make sure you don't get lost on your way to where we need to go. Just let me take the lead if we get too close to my home.
All right. As you guys step out into the Grand Festival,
No,
there is going to be a small crowd of just people heading back into their caravans and stuff. Meat lives inside of the city. She would not have brought a caravan, wagon, or anything of the sort, or entourage, or be staying at an inn. She'd just be standing out here waiting for Alexander.
I'd say I live in the city too.
Yeah, and she'd look over and see the group of you, and she'd wave over to Alexander and say, "Alexander! Alexander!"
Oh, God. One moment, guys.
Paul's going to nod.
I'll run over.
I'll kind of look and nod at Wonder Spoon here, and kind of motion to just keep walking, because I feel like it's not weird.
I'll
necessarily
just
for us.
go to him as
Well,
we're,
outside of the image of like a 32-year-old man and a 14-year-old girl wandering at night, but
I mean, with the posse of.
Also, wait, it's just kind of the...
basically, I'm not gonna get stopped by like parents. I didn't bring mine.
Mhm.
and mine is currently off somewhere else, and in different
My
location.
dad might stop me. We just haven't run into him yet.
yeah,
Mine's
as
too
I'm
far
leaving
away.
the group, I'll just go to them. I can catch up. Don't worry.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. Like, do we have a meetup point, or we just?
Well, let's handle this first, because like you guys aren't going to be out of sight on the palace concourse. Meat's going to look and say, "Did you make friends in there? I saw Lord Estrai was in that group. Where you guys heading?"
Oh, actually, Claw's with us. Lord Esterai brought Claw, and we're just gonna go for a stroll. Probably bring him home eventually. I guess Lord Esterai had some errands he had to run for the magnate.
She's going to shake her head and say, Somar Villa's a half a day's march to the south, and then his forest another quarter day from there. Tell him he can stay with us while he's in town. We can hire a
I'm sorry, Mother. I guess his family's gonna be worried. If anything, we can just grab a carriage and make the trip a lot quicker that way.
She's going to nod and say, well, I can go home and get my armor and sword, if...
He lifts his cloak, showing the silver sword. We're all right. We're not too worried about it. It's just a short travel to Somar.
She's going to fish out some money and say, all right, well, here's 50 gold. When you get to Somar Villa, hire a mage. Send me a sending that you're okay.
I will, and I'll stop in at the office down there and let them know as well. Proper
She's
protocol, I know.
going to kiss you on the forehead and begin walking off. That said, that's the only one who notices you guys departing from this crowd. As Alexander rejoins with the party, the disguised Facidanius is going to speak up from the center of the group and say, other thing is, we can only travel for 4 hours a day, and for the other time we should find a inn or tavern and stay inside of.
You know what? My dad's shop on the way. Let me just grab
I
a
can't.
long
So
cloak.
I don't. Okay, I
Clark-
can't say because I don't actually know if I know the lay of the land that well as Stradora, because it's like
Well, no,
I think
kind
there
of.
are inns between here and Somar Villa because it's not that long a trip.
Claw's
not.
going to speak up and state, my forest is quite well guarded, and we can easily get a caravan there to get us quickly there, and I know a bit of the edge of the location. Just once we get towards the edge, I'm going to say something that you will need to remember. Otherwise, well, let's just say our land is well protected.
What time is it now?
It's probably about 9 p.m. at night, and as you ask that, bells are going to start ringing frantically from the castle. The princess disguised as Facidanius is going to look back at the castle and say, "Oh God, they know I'm gone. Oh God."
Let's get going.
Oh, this.
And Claw is going to keeping an eye out for a caravan that we could get to get home.
All right. Let's see. How about you roll me an investigation check? As you guys, I think I have Ardor as a city rolled up.
Get it?
Pretty
More
sure I do.
investigation.
Could I do a perception because I'm looking around for it?
Anybody can
I'm
help
sad because that's a natural 20, but
you. You can use it. Yeah. All right. No, not perception. Investigation. I mean, you're actively going to be asking people around. As you guys get to Somia, the southern side of Ardor, you are going to find a caravan headed to Somar Villa for the evening. Let's see, who would be running this caravan? It's going to be a female halfling, and she is with a traveling band of performers, and just like looking over the group, she's I'm gonna roll a percentage die. She's going to say that the amazing Thassidanius Wonderspoon you're traveling with?
He gets that a lot, but no, he's just my dad.
Roll me a deception check.
I tried.
Surprisingly, she got a 9. Yes! Insight. She's gonna look at you, and then look at him, and then look at you, and say, adopted?
yes.
Yep.
She's gonna say, good, because that Macedonius owes me a couple hundred gold from some gigs he stole from me. Anyways, 5 silver, and you can load your stuff in the back, and us and, or rather the lot of us are going to play for some noble down in Somar Villa.
How many they're a caravan. How many carriages do they have?
2. Seeing as you guys don't have much equipment, you could easily ride in, the equipment carriage.
Anyways, I'll
Without
toss
being
her a
encumbered.
gold because I don't have silver.
Okay, that pays for 2 people.
Oh, it's per. Oh yeah, well I'm paying for the only 2 people I care about.
I'll hand her 10 gold and say, we'll just ride in the carriage in the back for some privacy.
All right. As you guys pay, she's just going to shrug, allowing each of you to climb in. You guys are going to be able to get a carriage to yourself, and in a little bit, the carriage takes off. Thassidanius is going to exhale and say, I have something I should tell you. I'm not really
Yeah, you're the princess.
Yeah, you're the princess. We got it.
You should really remember when he introduced himself, he always said the amazing.
Also, weird comment to state, but I'm used to illusions being played around me.
I'd never forget you.
I'll be honest, his reaction is what tipped me off.
I feel like I should buy
my
it.
autograph.
I feel like
Like, honestly, I saw that
spray
she got
bottle.
horny, and I was like, oh.
Very much.
Say that again, Ramon.
No, I feel like I should get like a spray bottle.
Right.
Pull rock and start dragging
But-
you by the ear.
As I said, though, once we get closer to to the location, once you step foot nearby my home, you need to say the passphrase. What is it? A home of our own.
She's going to nod and shrug and say, well, that party was wild. Somebody wants to kill me.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to kill my family too.
A lot of unpleasantness going on tonight. So,
It's good to officially
since you're
meet you.
here, can I ask you a question? Were you the
apprentice.
The apprentice girl that was sitting with us like the whole night.
Oh, she's going to nod, and she's going to begin casting a spell. And she changes her appearance. She is going to say, I suppose a formal introduction is in order. I'm Princess Asuandria Bertolf. The first and only of my name. I didn't know who would want to kill me, seeing as I only know 5 people, and all of them are so pleasant. But I didn't think I was going to get any answers in the palace.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I guess you already know who we are then.
She's going to nod and kind of look down and say, sorry for pulling you away from your family. I promise I normally do exactly as I'm told. It's just... She shrugs and says, a pull, you know?
It's exciting, right? Adventure?
Well, if that's the case, I think I should bring up a point to the rest of us in the cart. Sun Yeth excluded. We're probably going to be in a lot of trouble, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Will
boy.
they actually end up in more trouble?
She's...
Well, I mean, more of
I am a foreign
This is-
dignitary.
possible treason.
Is this technically kidnapping if she asks us?
She's going to shake her head and say, no, you'll be fine. She pulls out her necklace and says, Mom made sure to see to it that no one could ever magically find me. As long as I have this on, no divination magic of any kind is able to perceive or detect me.
Huh.
As long as nobody knows that you're with me, they wouldn't think to scry on any of you.
Okay.
And considering, as I stated, you all are helping me go home after me clearly being afraid of heading home after something that they stated.
You know, we were just helping the great Alexander, Spoon, and not the princess of.
Shh.
And that. I guess. I guess we've got a long trip. Does we just want to strike up a conversation, or?
Oh, here's
Fun
another
fact.
thought, guys. We were supposed to meet with her leadership in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
I think
I
I
skip that anyway.
think
I did give a non-committal answer.
as I stated, I live nearby here, so them being, I'm sure that the magnate can understand that my family might be a little bit protective if they get threatened. After all, my dad cares about those he considers family.
Fang, I want, you feel a mental pressure. Do you let it through?
He will.
Alright, this is purely telepathic, and that only you can hear it, but I'm simply going to ask you, a few questions on what exactly does your father, protection comes from?
He will reply, nature itself can protect the home, and graciously welcomes a forming bed for those they are considered a friend.
I'm just gonna nod and...
He's not saying that verbally, but
No, you can... It's a link.
yeah.
I do keep the link open unless you want to close it yourself.
He will add on. I'm sorry for. You might. I'm sorry for anything that you might see when you get there, though. And then he will close it.
I was like, I have never, like, I've only ever seen trade routes. I've spent like most of my entire life in the city.
Oh, Claw, by the way,
Yeah.
just so you're aware, what that idiot in there said about, not all of us feel that way.
I know you don't. I just hope you all don't either.
That being said,
She's gonna look up. The princess looks up at you guys and says, "Wait, do you guys like the demons in Ardor? I don't know much about them. They don't really tell me much other than my lessons."
not the demons, one of the other situations he mentioned.
I've never, well, if I have been a demon, I wasn't aware of it.
She's
You normally-
going to count on her finger and say, "The werewolves?"
You're a werewolf? Cool.
She
Not
shrugs
quite.
and says, "I've only heard Reyna mention them in passing comment. With the old senator, or the old council man."
Claw is going to sigh and then slowly pull down the mask, the robed mask that was covering his face, and you see a slightly extended muzzle that was covered in hair, in different brown and black hairs, resembling almost that of a timber wolf in terms of coloration.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to insult your fur when I said that. That thing.
When I first came to the city with my sister, we saw some individuals releasing falcons for a ceremony. And me being a bit curious about it, animals and their bonds, I wandered over to it. They saw what I was beforehand and immediately tried to strike me, but my sister disarmed them, and we ran and hid till we could find our father again. He's going to put his mask back over his face.
I mean, I've always been a little weird, but I've never faced prejudice like that. I mostly just got made fun of because my eyes. I got this little cool trick I can do. I can talk in your mind.
I know.
Yeah, we already had a conversation.
Also, Andrea is going to nod and say, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't know what it's like to not be normal, but it must suck. Sorry that people feel that way about you." Well, I just found out people wanted to kill me tonight, so she shrugs.
I said that's pretty not normal. Welcome to the not normal club.
As I stated, they're glory seekers. They want their names written down in history. Doesn't matter how powerful you are.
The gatekeeper's the one that defines true glory.
Yeah, they're not gonna care.
Yeah, that's another thing. You might not want to
That's
mention.
a whole other thing to unpack right now.
You might want to not mention the Forgotten Son much in order right now. There was a whole thing like 16 or so years ago involving her. Kind of.
Although,
I have to keep it quiet back home, and now I have to keep it quiet here.
at least once we get closer to my place, you might feel a bit more comfortable. there's a church to one of her aspects there.
Herder is more forgiving and understanding on other world. It's just some people are still a bit touchy on. Apparently, a giant portal of the bridge was opened in the sky or something.
Andrea nods and says, "Yeah, you can see it when the sun rises. At night, it just looks like a cloud. Less ominous."
Oh.
And she's
I would have seen it.
and she's gonna say, "I think one of the former knights opened up a temple right underneath it."
I think that would be Uncle Alma. I thought he only set up the temple. I thought he set up the temple nearby my father's groves.
She's gonna say, "Oh yeah, Mom told me about him. He helped had a magical disease when I was a kid. He helped cure me of it."
Yeah, my father and him and everybody else.
My father was more of the go and break everyone's face kind of person.
She's gonna look down as you say that and say, "I can't remember who my father or what my father looks like."
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And she shrugs and says, "Mom said he was stupid anyways, so." She's going to look over to Lumilia and say, "You're pretty quiet. Do you do this regularly?"
No, I've almost never left my temple. I'm just not certain how to handle this.
Well, as I stated, my dad set up a few groves, so we should be safe in them.
Alright.
As long as you don't mind sleeping on a bit of bark and grass.
Willow, you were going to say something?
Well, Lumilia was. What is Somar Villa exactly?
Andrea is going to respond and say, "It's a town to the south. I hear all of the richest and fanciest nobles and the nation choose to live there. It's where a lady named Lethelia Nakart once lived, and she made it the center for wealth and trade outside of Ardor."
Claw's going to nod at that, and then stating, "Right outside of there is my clan, where we mostly do a bit of logging and some healing. Some people go there to see my auntie for one reason or another, and some people go there to the temple for prayer, but like I said..."
Willow was about to say something else.
Oh, sorry.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were. Might be. Were you going to say anything else, E?
No.
Okay. Alright, so for the rest of this trip, you guys travel in casual conversation. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, I guess, during the casual conversation, so why do you want to go to Villa?
Oh, you're asking also Andrea?
Yes.
She's going to say, well, it's hard to explain. The head diviner and my mother have never lied to me, and I don't know, tonight I felt like Reyna did, and if they're the only people I can get information from, and they're not giving me the right information, I thought maybe I should find it for myself. I don't feel like everything is okay if somebody wants to kill me, and maybe that they just don't understand me. So, if a rebellion's starting, or dissent, or a war, and they don't understand who I am, I thought I could go and figure out why they might want to do something like that, and then we could fix it. And then everybody will be happy again. Does that make sense? It made a lot more sense when I was leaving the quarters.
I think it makes sense.
It makes
Does make
perfect
sense.
sense to me.
I think
It's
I get
very
it.
good of you.
I think I get what you're doing.
You want people to understand. You want to understand why people are going after you, and then you don't want. And then you want to give them reasons to not go after you, for them to accept you.
She's gonna nod and say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, that's not common outside the palace, is it? Right? Like, people just don't kill people they just meet.
Not
they?
usually.
No.
Well,
I get
Depending on
scared
what
at
you
every
are.
so often, but that's about it.
I just get some weird looks, but I didn't pass. Or normal.
She's going to say, yeah. And once we get to the Niatan's estates, I can poke around. Perhaps I can talk with Kiris, maybe find out who was talking to his father, smooth things over, and you guys can head back to the capital and with your families. And she shrugs and says, we can enjoy another 16 years of peace.
if only it was that simple.
Look. Drake negotiated the first 16 years of peace, so Drake can negotiate the next 16 years of peace. I think we got this.
The peace hasn't lasted 16 years.
We should at least try.
I'm giving you that, like, why you gotta undercut me, dog.
Are you gonna undercut him
Why
in
you
front
gotta
of a girl?
undercut me, dog?
Or are you gonna get embarrassing her in front of a girl?
Alright.
I'm trying to look cool in front of my crush, goddamn.
You know where the estate is?
I got this.
Somebody should know.
I
We're
think.
looking
Ma-
around.
I think.
And
I
if you're
think.
like, why would you ask around? You're from here. You should know. I'm not.
Claw would know.
No,
I think.
actually,
Niatan's
too, I
estate.
think I sent, and this is a Dungeon Master talking to a player, I think I sent Jackal, Lord Glacius Niatan, as a contact. Your character would know where his family's located, seeing as he's always pressuring your family to, hey, come down, swear an oath. Let's, bond our family and sacred tradition. Just the thing bros do. I'm kidding. But, Anderson would have some insight as to, where their family is. Like, he probably would have been brought there, like, on a business meeting once or twice as, like, their fathers talked, and it's like, God, this is boring.
Okay.
But yeah, that said, Asu Andrea said, someone will know, as somebody probably will.
Would you rather go there tonight or wait until we've all rest up?
Well, you said we can only travel for 4 hours at a time.
She's going to nod and say, until I get better at magic, I can only manage 4 hours of travel. I need to keep myself arcanely bolstered. It's my sickness I've had for a while. When my magic runs out, I prefer to rest.
Is there anything we can do to assist?
She's going to shrug and say, well, it's kind of like gross, but I mean, if any of you can make like spell scrolls or anything, I can teach you the spell to prepare, and if we get some gold, we can make a couple copies of it that might allow me to travel a little longer.
I don't think I have the ability to do so. My magic comes from something more akin to my father, which, although he's used Alter Self quite a bit ever since he got strong enough to do it at will, to at least appear somewhat pleasant.
I gain my divine power from Lilia's light. I don't know if I can do that kind of magic.
Yeah, she's going to show her spellbook to the party, and nobody's going to recognize the spell. At which point she's going to shrug and say, it's fine.
Yeah, my family's, we're fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. I actually don't have the capabilities of using any magics.
I mostly know healing spells.
And magic's not in my blood, so can't help.
I just pat the great axe. It's like, my father taught me the ancient ways of fighting, like a true Ardorian hero. That phrase is a little more bitter after tonight.
I threw a mean right hook.
You know what? To try and lighten the mood, you're gonna see Claw pull out a drum, and he's gonna
From where?
his bag.
Of holding?
Well, no, he has a bag on his back.
It's like, I'm still just in fine clothes and like
Oh
my
yeah, I'm in my
strap
dress.
for my battle axe.
Same, pretty much. All I've got is like a rapier on me.
See, keep in mind, his family, he is the least formally dressed of anybody here. Again, the closest thing he has into formality is a trench coat. So,
I've got a
barely wearing
dress and a
clothes.
necklace.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have anything else.
Asu Andrea has a bag that she pulled her spellbook out of. As you guys start like discussing this, she's going to look into it and say, "Oh, I grabbed some of the gifts I was given. I thought I could sell them on the road. I'm sorry, but I don't really have any money of my own. But maybe they could be useful to you guys for leaving all of your stuff behind."
They were gifts for you, princess. You can do whatever you want with them.
It's fine.
Wait, hold on. Weird question. Did she bring the falcon?
She did not bring the falcon.
No,
Okay.
Does she have the dress of like all? Because I mean, it is worth a lot.
She does
I
have
don't
the
wanna know if
dress.
she has my gift. I'm not gonna.
No,
I'm not gonna be able
it's
to control
fine.
myself.
It's fine.
No, she's-
I'm now in the corner, like sulking, like knees up, arms around it. It's
I mean,
fine.
that's
It's
made
not
to
like
her sizes. Of course she's not going to sell it.
it's not like we worked 4.5 months on it.
The Dreamcatcher did have one extra thing from my auntie, I guess, that you overheard. The extra thing is that you can't have that it makes it so that way you always have a good dream if you sleep under it. Guess I forgot to mention that when I gave it to, well, the apprentice, but thought that it might be a good gift. I'm indifferent. I have quite a few at home. My dad and I make them as a bit of a hobby.
All right. Yeah, and I think this like conversation again, it's going to carry on just casually for the ride. About each hour, you guys see Asu Andrea casting a spell. The second time she does this, you guys can use your reaction to try and identify the spell if you want.
Yes, please.
But
Yeah.
go ahead. You're trying to beat
I know I won't be able to hit.
DC 11. It is an
One roll,
Arcana check.
Oh
One
no.
good roll I get tonight. I'm not even proficient in.
I'm the opposite of proficient.
I'm not making a check.
Yeah, can the party get a DC 11? No, they cannot. Wait. Okay. Yeah. Alexander is going to recognize the spell of Disguise Self being cast. As she cast it multiple times. Again, I mean, I'll allow the Arcana check 2 more times if you guys want, but Alexander can share it in whispers.
Princess,
Can
Can I
I
ask a
casually divine sense?
Mhm.
can I ask a question?
She's going to look up and nod.
You're casting Disguise Self, but this is your normal appearance, isn't it?
She's going to shake her head and say, "No, that's why I can only travel so little. My sickness as a child kind of left my appearance looking deformed. It's,
Claw's gonna chuckle at that.
Mom says I'm beautiful, but that I still shouldn't be outside around other people.
Well, if I may, we're all friends here. I don't think you need to disguise yourself for us if it's just us in here.
I mean, if it's weird eyes, I mean, like, hey.
And Claw's just gonna pull down the mask again. Trust me on this. If I were going, I'm not going to be any kind of hypocrite. My sister got better luck with it anyways.
She's going to shrug and say, alright, if you're fine with it. It's a little off-putting. But she shrugs. The third hour passes. She does not recast Disguise Self. At which point, you guys are going to see her appearance stays basically the same, other than like the magic around her eyes is going to fade, and she's got completely black eyes, no irises, no white around them. It almost looks like if you look into them, you can see another place, like in almost an endless sky inside of them, a night sky.
That's actually really cool.
It's like staring into the eyes of my goddess.
I want to go with that. It's like,
As I said, yours is a bit more subtle than mine.
She's going to shrug and say, I don't know, they just kind of like always been like this. But you think this is why he wanted to kill me? Like, it can't be, right?
I think it's more political than personal.
Well, I guess
maybe, because the rumors are that your family consorts with demons.
Hmm. And gives land to werewolves.
Not that I want
You're not like
you're beautiful just the way you are, but I can see where the eye thing might give people the wrong idea.
Hmm.
My eyes have never turned black before. I wonder if they could do that. Wonder what kind of emotion I would have to feel for that.
I can
Emptiness.
transform my eyes to look like that.
She's going to look at you and say, "You know illusion magic?"
Only very small things. And Lumilia will cast Thaumaturgy cantrip to change her eyes to black.
Ah. She's going to scoot closer to you on the cart, like mouth open and a smile, point to her eyes, and then to like Lumilia's of just like, that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna give a kind of smug look at Stradora.
No, it's like I'm just like
Oh,
this is fun. We're having a
What's
good
on?
time. We're having a good time here.
But this Paw is going to just casually start playing the drum a little bit to help, keep the
I'm gonna
mood light a
cross my
little
arms
bit.
and huff.
My mom's
Like a
a
quiet
chatterer,
huff.
so stuff like this is normal to me.
She's gonna nod and say, "You guys asked me at the table if I could disguise myself to look like someone else. I'm great at illusion magic. I lied. I'm sorry. I don't normally lie, but I was told not to talk to anyone about anything, and so
You had good reason to.
and
Mhm.
she's
Yeah, someone tried to kill you.
gonna nod and say, if I had more spells, I could look like any one of you here. I don't know how Thrasidanius did that so quickly, but I mean, I could take.
I mean,
on
as
each
you
of
get
those
better
forms.
with magic, I hear like you just naturally get faster at it.
He said something about waiting for the moment right before you cast a different spell to trigger the other spell that was already in your hands. So he seemed to be dual casting things.
I think he casted one spell beforehand, and then,
And then
cast the next spell. And there's some magic you can keep manipulating. So if you cast the first one that you can manipulate later, first, when you cast the second one, you can then manipulate the first one, and it looks like it's happening at the same time.
Rob has figured it out mechanically. Dungeon Master to players, he casts one spell as a readied action, which would cause it to trigger on his reaction when the conditions were met. And then when his turn came around, he casted another spell.
I actually
So-
didn't figure it out mechanically. I was
Oh.
working on the idea. Well, I was working
Well,
on
it
like,
was-
the
yeah.
theme idea.
It was
Like-
very similar to what you said. He cast one spell, readied it, and then the condition was when I start casting another spell, trigger. So it was cast as he started his performance. So it looked like he cast it really fast. But
So you spellcaster types. Is there a way you can just hold on to a spell and not use it if you cast it?
Once you cast the spell, you use the spell. You
There
can,
are ways
you
to.
can sit on it. Like I can make my sword real hot, and I don't have to hit it right away. But I can also wait. Like I can like not let it loose, so to speak, for a while. But if I ever have to decide, oh, I'm not going to use that, it's still used it.
I mean, there's kind of akin to that. The closest thing I can do is a spell that while I'm maintaining focus on it, I am kind of harder to hit, but at one point while I'm maintaining concentration on it, I can do a bit of extra. I can put a bit of extra force into my arrows, and double my movement, or move twice as fast as I usually do for a round. But besides that, I'm just constantly hard to hit. Either that, or I can make it easier for me to hit you. Not too many spells, like I said. My sister's the one that you would want to go for that. She's got my father's skill with magic.
I will be right back.
Oh, we are about to finish up for the night. Just letting...
Really need to go. I'll be
Okay,
right back.
that's fine. I'm just letting you know. Alright. So, the, Rob. Stradora feels, feels like she's being watched. Of that eerie sense of somebody is looking at you. As to where it's coming from, you're unsure.
Oh, it's confusing. I didn't have to make a save. Unless Brandon rolled my save secretly.
You can assume that if you want, but your caravan stops. Feeling the caravan stop, Asuandria's going to look and say, I thought it'd be at least 4.
Disguise yourself.
She's going to pull out her spell book and use her last spell slot on Disguise Self.
Pick a shape that isn't you.
She goes back to Thassadanius.
I was pulling up his mask.
Claude, stand back.
A voice is going to call and say, Asuandria, I know you're in there. Come out. She's going to look around as she and the rest of the party recognizes Reyna's voice. And she's going to say, Reyna found us? How did she find us?
I think she scryed on me.
She's going to say, impossible! She didn't even know you were with me!
I didn't exactly do a good job hiding. Anyways, it makes sense.
She's going to say, I'll handle this. As she climbs out the...
Let me. I caused this. I was hired to keep you safe. So this is a job for me.
I'll go out with you. Reyna's old family friend.
As you guys step out, you are going to see the drivers of the carriage and the horses are all sleeping. Reyna is standing in the middle of the road, hands in her pocket and the overcoat she's wearing. She's going to put her hands over her head, and then she casts a spell. Lights start to dance around her hand as they go closer to you and light up the area. She's going to say, Princess Stradora and Alexander, you have a hand in this fiasco. I'm disappointed in each of you.
Don't be.
Auntie Reyna. We're just going to somewhere. We're taking Claw back to his home.
I know the princess is in there. She's going to yell over you and say, "You brought your gifts! I can't scry on you, but I can scry on items."
Wait.
The people in the carriage are going to say, rather, Osuandria. The people in the carriage are going to hear Osuandria swear and say, "Damn! Stupid nice items."
Wait.
I'm back.
To update you, Willow, the caravan has been stopped. All of the attendees have been put to sleep.
Wait.
Reyna
Oh, boy.
is standing in the middle of the road, calling for the princess.
Wait. You didn't scry on me?
She's going to shake her head and say, "No. Why would I scry on you? I'm here for the princess. We're going back to the castle now. It's unsafe for you to be
I
out
don't
here."
understand. Somebody watched. I felt somebody watching me.
That's
More-
funny.
Claw's going to
As you
Claw's going to go
say
around.
that, Rob, a woman is going to teleport in front of you. She's going to look back at Stradora and say, "Are you in danger? Winsley had me looking for you."
I'm not in any
she-
danger.
Looks at Reyna, and she's going to say, "Huh. I know you. I've seen you before." Reyna is going to say, "You don't know anything." Corwin's going to whisper back to Strador and say, Get back in your carriage. I'll dispel the horses. And I'll have them ride as fast as they can to the village."
Claw's going to climb out and get on the carriage. I can drive them. Overhearing this. Get in. I think I know what I'm doing.
I'm just going to telepathically let the princess know. I would brace yourself for a bumpy ride.
Don't you hurt anybody. You tell Winsley I'm fine.
She's going to nod and look back at Reyna as the horses, or rather, as she begins casting a spell. Reyna is going to cast counter spell, and Corwin is going to look towards her. And she's going to say, "That spell's only short. It's going to last a minute. Those horses will be up in a second. Whip them and ride." She looks to Reyna and says, You altered my mind. Do the rest of them know? You left me to die in that mountain village." Reyna does not seem unfazed by this. She's going to shake her head and say, "I don't even know you." At which point, the horses are going to start to wait. The performers on the caravan are going to say, "What's going on?"
Like, bang, now!
Yes, and with that, Fang is going to take the reins and start going to be like, "Sorry, I think I need to do something." And what? Wow! Fucking hell!
Wow.
Well, you
I can
certainly
handle it, natural one.
You certainly whipped the mess out of those horses, and they are going to just be stirred, and God knows where this carriage is going as it shoots down the road, crashing by the other carriage, almost knocking it off. Like, I'm gonna roll if you guys damage your wheels. The wheels are fine. Other carriage almost gets tipped over as these horses shoot. Reyna is going to begin casting another spell. Corwin counter spells it.
Can I do as the next turn to try and calm them down and get control over this again?
Sure, but how about we end here for the night?
Okay.
All right.
Carriage wildly running.
What have you got?
Why?
Just go, you goddamn damn stupid hoses!
Because somehow it works perfectly that that's what happens.
It does.
We went from a nice, elegant party to
There will be no combat, he said,
We
and we
kidnapped the princess. I
we
told you, Ramon.
stupidly believed him.
This is my life now.
I swear that I'm good with animals!
This is all your
a
fault, Rob.
bunch of
You're too thirsty.
teenagers just kidnapped the princess.
This really is a
We are now
babysitter.
wanted fugitive.
I can only get. My thirst isn't even in its final form.
By the gods, we're gonna die.
Oh my god. He just rolled another natural one for animal handling.
Oh no!
That's next week's.
Yeah. Alright, so let's do experience. Great first session. I'm going to just say storyline experience flat 300 for everybody. And just pretty fantastic roleplay, like all around.
Why did that double ones?
Because it would be too funny. It
Fuck you,
wouldn't.
that's why.
The universe just deemed like it would be really funny.
The universe is great.
I'm great! This character's supposed
No,
to
I
be
can
good
see
with
that
animals!
plus 5. You are great with it, and that's what makes it so funny.
You are under a lot of stress.
Mhm.
It's true. You are being yelled at to get moving.
You
And
see,
his
Morty.
voice is digital.
I think I'm going to give experience to, or not experience. I think I'm going to give inspiration to Mordecai Claw Estrai tonight. I just think there were a lot of great moments you had that you kind of pushed the party forward and together. And the group's next session is going to be the 1st of February. If everybody can make that. And that is going to be where we end tonight.
Why the double that ones?
Because it had to.
I'm a level 2 character with plus 5.
Look, our luck can only get worse.
Oh, yeah. Wait, is that enough to level up?
Uh,
I mean, like, I know we need a total of 900, but, like...
We got 300.